In 2013, a man thought he was doing the right thing by donating his mother's body to science, just to find out a year later the disturbing truth about what she was actually used for. But before I get into that story, I want to thank you for stopping by and hanging out with me to hear this bizarre and disturbing story. And without further ado, let's hop right into it. In Arizona, back in 2013, Jim Stauffer's mother, Doris, would pass away from the Alzheimer's disease at the age of 74. Now, her doctors had told Jim that they believed that her disease had mutated in a way that they had never seen before, and they wanted to know if he'd be willing to donate her body so they could study her brain. And after thinking about it for a while, Jim figured that this is something his mother would actually want him to do. So he would agree to donate her body so it could be studied, but in the long run, these neurologists, her doctors, they wouldn't be able to accept her body due to a bunch of administrative issues. So this would upset Jim at first because at this point, he was all in. He really was down with the idea that his mother's brain was going to be researched and used to help others who were suffering with this disease. So he was really upset when they told him, no, we can't take her body. After trying to figure out another way for his mother's brain to be used to help others suffering with this disease, he would hear about a place called the Biological Resource Center located in Phoenix, Arizona. Now, this center was known to take deceased people and they would extract the parts that they needed for their research, and then they would cremate what was left and they would send the ashes back to the family. And Jim thought that this is exactly what he wanted. They would take his mother, they would extract her brain, and they would use it for Alzheimer's research. So he would call up this center, and within 45 minutes to an hour of that phone call, the Biological Resource Center would dispatch somebody to go pick up Jim's mother. Now, before the center could actually take her body, Jim would have to fill out some paperwork. And he indicated on this paperwork that her brain should be extracted and used for Alzheimer's research. That's what he wanted done with her. So after he got done filling out the paperwork, he would give it back to the driver, and they would take his mother's body, and they would all depart ways. 10 days after they had taken his mother's body to this center, Jim would get this small wooden box in the mail. And in this little wooden box was his mother's ashes. And Jim, he thought it was kind of weird that the box was so small and that there was no letter telling him what his mother was actually used for. So Jim, he just assumed that they used her for Alzheimer's research just like he wanted her to. And he would take that box inside and he would try to move on with his life. That is, until 1 year later, he would see on TV that that same resource center that he sent his mother to was being raided by the FBI due to allegations that they were actually selling human bodies. Now, during this investigation, they would find out that that center was indeed selling bodies. And not only were they selling bodies, they sold at least 20 bodies to the United States Army for various experiments. And Jim would unfortunately find out that his mother was one of them bodies sold to the United States Army, and she was sold for $5,893. Jim would find out the disturbing truth that his mother was never used for any kind of Alzheimer's research. Instead, her body was strapped to this device that resembled a chair, and then it had an explosive detonated underneath it. And the reason that she was used for this experiment was because the Army was trying to understand the effects on the human body when a vehicle is hit by an IED. Not only did Jim figure out that his dead mother's body was blown up, he found out that that little wooden box that he had received in the mail 10 days after his mother was sent to that center only contained the ashes of her left hand. The rest of his mother's body was unrecoverable. And Jim and 19 other families, they would go on to sue the Biological Resource Center, and in 2019 they were rewarded $58 million. And thankfully, the Biological Resource Center is no longer in operation. So if Jim finding out his dead mother was blown up wasn't crazy enough for you in this story, then wait till I tell you what exactly the FBI found when they were raiding this building. So back when the FBI first raided this building, they would come out and say that they found what appeared to be a trophy. Now, what kind of trophy could this place possibly have? It was none other than a male body strung up on a wall with a woman's head sewn onto it. There was somebody working in this building that was sewing body parts onto other body parts and then keeping them as some kind of weird little trophy. The people that were working in this building had some real freaky, weird stuff going on. As for Stephen Gore, the owner of the Biological Resource Center, he would end up pleading guilty in 2015 to running an illegal enterprise. And the judge would sentence him to 1 year of deferred prison time and 4 years of probation. So basically, he got a little slappy slap on the wrist. Was it a slap on the wrist? Was it actually a good sentencing? I have no idea. I'm not a judge. I just know what my personal feelings are on what he had going on. And I would love to hear what you think about Stephen Gore's sentence down in the comments. So please let me know. I would love to see what each and every one of y'all think. That's it for the story, you guys. Really hope you found it interesting. When I shared that story on TikTok, it did really well, and there was a bunch of people that have never heard about it. So I figured I would make it my first YouTube video. You know, a short little video to kind of dip my toes into the YouTube scene. But yeah, I hope you found it interesting. If you did find it interesting, then please leave me a comment, let me know what you thought about the story. Let me know if you thought it sucked. That's fine too. And if you enjoyed it, then please subscribe. I'm trying to make this channel kind of into stuff like that. Weird stories, just creepy, mysterious kind of stuff. I'm really big into true crime, so there will be a bunch of true crime stuff here. Don't know exactly what I'm going for on this channel, but I do know it's going to be stories just like this. So, again, I'm just rambling on now, so I'm going to go ahead and end it. I do not know how to end it, but, thank you for watching it. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys again soon.